Hi guys, Johnny here, Mr. Forex Fire. So I'm a little bit late at getting up onto the charts. We're going to be looking at GBP, GPY, GBP, USD, Euro, USD. Okay. From there, last week we had a fantastic week of testing. We using minimal risk of around about 0.10, but again, yeah, I think it was 6 wins, 2 losses. Yes, using the minimal risk, we only had like a 0.5% growth, but looking back on that data, if we'd risked 1% per trade, we could have had a good 40. I think it was between 14 or 18%. I would need to go back on my video to look at that, but again, it would have been a funded pass. So that was based on a 10k account. This time around, I've put everything up to 100k. We'll risk 1% per trade, and then from there, we've marked up on our indicators on the actual train view. We've got ICT midnight, New York GMT, ICT midnight with the 8:30 open, and then we've got the kill zone boxes, and then I'm going to be using the FVG nephew Sam, and I've got this onto a 2-minute chart. Okay, I've got it on a 2-minute fair value gap. Okay, so we've highlighted the hour, which is the midnight of the New York time. I've got it on New York time here at the moment, and we drill it down to a 15-minute. I've got the high and low of where we are on this particular day being the 31st. Okay, so again, the basics of this is we break a today high or low, and then we wait for a reversal, taking out liquidity. If we are moving in a selling motion, we would wait for the previous lower high to be broken and look for the fair value gap. Okay, it looks as if that's going to break in a moment. GBP USD is in a similar sort of fashion. It's starting to break there now. GBP, JPY, it's heading down into this area. Again, if I was just to go on a daily, I just want to have a quick look at where we are on the daily format. We can see, I mean, obviously we've got the buy side here, and we got some sell side liquidity on this here. We'll go down to the 4-hour, down to 1 hour. Again, we've got sell side and buy side. We've got them up here, and we've also got it here. So I'm just keeping an eye on things. I mean, obviously this here is a previous daily low, and we've got a previous daily high up here. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go back down to the 15-minute. Auto log that. Go down to the 1 minute. Here's the kill zone boxes coming in now. So now we're in what I call fair game. Okay, we wait for those breaker structures. Just going to set the alarm on here. Create that. Have a look on this here. We've already broke the structure here. So what I want to see is basically a structure line on this lower high. I would like to see that taken there. And then as we've done the liquidity grab, if we just put the trading plan here. As we've done the liquidity grab, which is what's happened here, we're waiting for the displacement, which then comes back up into this area. And then we'll look for the fair value gap that the displacement leaves behind, a bit like a breadcrumb effect. Okay. And then we're going to look on the Euro USD. We've had a break to the lower side again. Again, just to be visual, I would like to see a return back up above here from a swooping area. Once we get that, I can then move my area to a previous low, a new low, and then we wait and rinse and repeat. Okay, so at the moment, this might be fast and furious at the minute. We're going to be looking at the 3 pairs of the GBP, GPY, the GBP, USD, and we're also looking at Euro USD. Okay, so I'll pause the video. We'll be back in a short while, but it looks as if we are starting to get some setups now. Be back in a while. All right, so I do want to go over one or two things, okay? As you can see in here, we've got the start. I've got it started at 100K. Obviously, we're in the month of, where we are January, but we're going into February really soon. Let's just take a look. Calculator, we do have a calculator here. We've got our 100,000. We want to risk 1 per trade. If we just go down to something like this at the moment, GBP USD, and then again, the stop loss, we'll be putting the stop loss in here. Let's see if it was an 8 pip. That would be the number of lots that we would use, okay? The margin calculator, I'm not particularly using at the moment. I've got the trading journal. I've got this set up as 5 trades. I'm not expecting any more than that today, to be fair. And then we go on the dashboard. You can see here, this will change. We've got 5 trades wrote out at the moment on there. So again, all this is on zeros because we haven't officially taken any trade at the moment. And then again, all this will be skew with because we haven't set up any sort of trade at the moment as well. Let's just go back to the chart. We can see obviously we've broken the low, so it's a liquidity grab, starting to come back into the range of this high to low. We will wait for a break up here for the displacement as well. We haven't quite got that yet. We're starting we haven't quite come down to break out of here, so we'll leave that one alone. Euro USD, again waiting for the return. So we've got everything set up. We're just waiting for the alarms to go and tell us when to have another look at the charts. Okay, I'll be back in a short while. So again, what I've done, because I'm just trying to be as transparent as possible, okay? We've got the low here. We had the liquidity grab here, okay? So I've put in a little bit of a trend or a horizontal line, okay? Because this would be the new low. However, we need a high here to be taken out. Again, we could see this high here in fairness, but I'm just going to put this around about here. See, we'll get a displacement to the higher side again. If we get a shift lower, I'll move this down until we get a clear movement. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this along to here, okay? And in fact, I'll put this on here now. And this is the sort of shift I'd be looking for at the moment. In fact, no, because that's going to confuse me, to be fair. We had the liquidity grab here. If we put the circle on, we had a liquidity grab there. I'm just going to put this here as where the potential is. We want to move to this upside and then hopefully the fair value gap left behind. Again, we haven't had a liquidity grab there. Euro USD. I'm going to move this to here. And we'll be back in a short while. Again, I'll try not to make this video as long. We're just looking for an optimal entry within the yellow zone, which is the London kill zone. Again, New York time, we're coming up to 10 to 4, which is just before 9 a.m. on the London. Okay, we've got 8 minutes, and this is where we'll possibly see some spike of volatility in there. We'll put that back to New York. With regards to news, okay, we have some USD news going into 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. And if I just go on to FX Street, which is another one I tend to use a lot, we can see on here, again, GBP news within the next 38 minutes. So it looks as if it's going to be a pretty steady day for news, to be fair. We'll be back in a short while. So again, we can see we are now liquidity grab. Okay. Did I have my trim plan? Yeah. Bring it here. So as you can see on here now, again, another liquidity grab. We'll bring this down to here. I would be expecting to break onto here. Just going to bring this down to here. And then again, just about shifting the markers to see where we are. We'll see if we get, after this sort of liquidity grab on this here, from here, we'll see we'll get the shift back up to give us the displacement. GBP, again, that's just meandering around. And same again, we've just had a double tap on here. Still waiting for the break up to this high side. So the one I've really got my eye on at the moment is certainly going to be the GBP pairs at the moment today. Again, on what we're looking at, we've had that liquidity grab from the low, making a new low side, and I've just got the line under here to identify that, and I'm looking for the last lower high, which is here, so I would be waiting for a displacement to come through that area. Again, I'll try not to make this video too long today, but it just depends on how price and price action moves. But I want to be transparent for those that are sort of looking at the stuff that I do to see if they actually take something away from this today. Okay, so I'll pause the video and I'll be back in a short while. So again, we've got two areas. We've got obviously liquidity grab from the previous low. We've marked out that new possible liquidity area. We've got the lower high here that we're waiting to be broken. Same procedure on the Euro USD. Again, we've had, let's get this lined up. We've had this low taken out with a liquidity grab. We're now waiting for the previous lower high to be breached. And again, it's as simple as that, guys. It looks like the Euro USD may be coming into that at the moment. Just seeing if it leaves the breadcrumbs behind. Let's just see if we get that push, and then what we do is we can knock in the 2-minute fair value gap from there, to be honest. The thing we need to be wary of on this one is simply we've got the fair value gap here. It may just be a continuation and trend. I want to see a nice bit of displacement coming right the way through this, to be fair. So then we can sort of set our ducks up in a row on the basket, okay? Again, we've got the same sort of effect on here. We've come broke here. We've come into retesting the 2-minute fair value gap. This may be a continuation down, in fairness. We're starting to get that liquidity grab up on the higher side. Right, let's just take a look. Right, so I'm going to set a trade up here, guys. I'm going to go. Let's see if I can get this done quicker. So I want to go on a long. I want to do 7 pips. Yeah, we'll do 7 pips for 14 pips. So I'll go on here. We'll go for a buy. In fact, 8 pips for 16 pips will do. 8 pips for 16, 1% risk. We'll just click on that. Just bring this in a bit. Bring this into here. Modify this under here. And we're going to risk 1%. So now we've got let's go up to that 2%. That's what I want to see. Take profit. So now we've clicked that in. So we want to bring this down to here. There's our 1 to 2. And we'll see. We'll get an entry on this. Again, we've had the low taken, so we've had the liquidity grab. Have we got our? Looks like we're going to be getting the entry in a second. Let's get the trading plan on. we've had the liquidity grab. So this here has been a liquidity grab, okay? We've had a return back up and take out that lower high, and we've left a little bit of a fair value gap behind. You can see here, barely see it, but this is where we've got the fair value gap. We're waiting for a touch back into here to then possibly move to the higher side. We'll see. We'll get an entry on this and grab that 2% move. The GBP USD is sort of meandering around. We've just come into the London Open, to be fair. Like I say, if we go into here, go London, you can see we are on the 9 candle. We're just going to take that back to New York, to be fair. This looks as if it's going to come back down and take a liquidity grab from here. GBP, JPY. Again, no real movement on there. But the Euro USD may look as if it's going to start to show its hand a bit. If you notice on here, we've got the fair value gap here as well. So it may be that it's going to take off from this area, but I'm looking for the lower side. It's just something that we need to test with this at the moment. Again, hasn't fully mitigated in. We may have chosen the wrong sort of area to get in on, to be fair. We'll just see what happens on here. I don't want to set two trades on the same position, if that makes sense. We'll just see if we'll get a mitigation into it. It's just a matter of sort of hanging fire, to be fair. Let's take a look. This is on my Discord. I'm just catching up with the Discord guys. Just seeing what people are doing. Right. GBP. Again, it's just stuck in that range at the moment. GBP USD. It looks like we're going to come down to take the low here, to be fair. So again, if that happens, we move this to a liquidity grab. We can move the low down to the next part as well. We'll just wait and see what happens with that. Looking at this from a bird's eye view, again, like I say, about to move this over this side, you can see when we've come down, took a liquidity grab with this here, okay, took that liquidity grab here, and we've moved up in the displacement. It had left behind two fair value gaps area, the higher one and then the lower one. I do want to go with the lower one, to be honest. On the back testing that I have done, normally the higher one does come out of play, but I just want to give the lower one a bit of a chance, to be fair. I'm going to pause the video. We'll be back in a short while. See if we've taken an entry from there. If we go above this area where it's possibly going to give a 1-to-1, I'm going to knock this trade off and just cancel it off. And we just wait for the next setup, okay? So it looks as if, at the moment, it looks as if this one may have been the correct move. We're just going along. That would have been your entry there. Okay, below your fair value gap. Would have had it just below there. And then your 1-to-2. Would have been about here. So again, that would have been your entry there. I'll keep this on because obviously we've got two areas, but I do expect price hopefully to come into touch into here. We'll see what would have happened if this would have been the one that we should have chosen. But again, we live and learn by what we set up. Okay, be back in a second. Yeah, and here we have it, guys. It looks as if that 2-minute fair value gap on the higher side was the entry we needed. This is more or less gone to the 2%. So, I mean, from there, we could still possibly hold this buy limit, to be fair. But again, I think I might just come out of it, to be honest. The GBP USD. We may be able to get in on a trade on here, to be fair. But we'll just put this on here. Have this on the low. Yeah, pips. So if we do an entry here, create new water, 8 pips, risking 1%. Set an order there. We'll look for that 1 to 2. There it is there. Euro USD. Yeah, we take this one out the equation. That's gone on for the 1 to 2. We've missed out on the wrong entry, to be fair, guys. Again, I'm going to cancel this one off. In reality, this one was the trade to take, the higher 2-minute fair value gap, to be honest. It went on to hit the 2%. So again, we just take things out. And it's going to get rid of that 2-minute fair value gap. We'll get rid of this here. Create the new low. And we're just resetting weight. Again, the GPY has just been stuck in this high-low range here. Looks like we've got an entry on our GBP USD. Let's just see what this will produce for us. Again, got the entry on the 2-minute fair value gap. We're in a nice little bit of profit at the moment. Nothing spectacular, because remember, we are in a like a C100K account. We'll just take it from there. I'm going to pause the video. We'll be back in a short while and see what this one produces. Going back on this GBP trade, okay. I mean, yes, we're in a little bit of drawdown here at the moment, but we are in the middle of trading what's coming up to be news events. So again, trade news. I really need to distinguish whether we enter when there's news events on, because like I say, I've put this on high impact and medium impact news. So again, we've got mortgage approvals, net lending individuals, money supply, and consumer credits all coming up in a short while. Then in 42 minutes time, you've got the gross domestic product, which again is in 42 minutes. There's a lot of Euro, GBP and USD news today. I mean, it could be hard trading today, to be fair. I mean, this looks as if it may sort of knock us out, but based upon the plan and style what I'm using, I mean, obviously we've had the liquidity from this low here. We've come back up and broke the previous lower high, a small displacement, and left a 2-minute fair value gap. But again, with news pending, this might just stop us out, to be fair. It might be the wrong time to be sort of forward testing this sort of stuff. But we shall see. We shall see. Again, hopefully we're just going to get a return on movement here. Again, looking at from this low to this high, the only fair value gap was this area here where the entry was. There's no other fair value gap in here. Again, liquidity resides here, resides under this candle, and resides under here. When we look deep dive, okay, you can see there to there has been a very small, minimal grab on price. And when I see a small grab on price, you can see where prices wicked through this area. So it's grabbed through this price. And when we look further down on the candles, there's only one here. Liquidity under each of these areas. So there'll be stops, SLs underneath each of these areas, you know. And I've tried to cover the bases by giving a few pips from the last low of here, you know. But again, will this structurally hold? It remains to be seen, to be fair. It's not looking promising, put it that way. It's not looking promising. We'll go back on the Euro USD. Again, we need the higher low to be broken. I could set an alarm on this. We'll create that. And did I set one on the GBP, GPY? Yes, I did. So we are in a trade. We're going to get some data, at least. We're either going to be a loser or we're going to be a winner. But again, we've only risked that 1%. Still early days, first trade. Bearing in mind, we do have the news that is coming in the next, like I say, the next 9 minutes. There's news on the JPP. So this could determine whether we're going to get a push up or a push down. The news itself, let's have a look. I don't want to sign up. It's money supply released by the Bank of England. So anything that's coming from the Bank of England is basically, it can be impactful, to be fair. Low reading's negative. So we want a high reading for it to be positive. I mean, the way the economy is going at the moment, it's not looking promising for what's going to be happening. Again, we're now coming back up to the break-even areas, which I want to see. I want to see this in green. And how many minutes are we from this news? 8 minutes. So as soon as that gets to 9:30 in this top corner, or when we're looking at this gets to 4:30 a.m. That's when obviously we might start getting the volatility. I'll come in on that news events. Again, it's acting like a coiled spring at the moment. You can see there's low high to this lower low. We're just between momentums at the minute. And again, we've got all of this trend line liquidity here where we've got targets of areas where we could, in time, we could move SLs to break evens or take partials. But again, I want to stress test this. We're stress testing this into the news. And I also want to just try and push for these 1 to 2 moves, you know. Just get rid of that. We'll take it from there. A little bit tired this morning. We'll be back in a short while, guys. Okay, guys, so we're literally exactly 1 minute away from the news events coming in. 1 minute from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 news events. Again, this is a great test to see what happens. With that 1 minute to come in, we're on the sort of a break-even area before the news hits. Let's just see if any one of those 5 events gives us a spike. Again, and if I was trading this in real money, especially on the size of account, I wouldn't have this order. I wouldn't be in it. I would have closed it out. Excuse me, I would have closed this out on a break-even area, to be fair. But let's just see what it would do. We are now around about 10 seconds from any news events from happening. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's just see if we do get a movement in price. Or is it just going to stay and just go slowly? We shall sharp see. I mean, the criteria and all that is there for the price action, to be fair. We're going to start and just have a look on the economic calendar. We can see the news is just starting to come in. And let's just go back to the area. There's the shift up to the higher side now, to be fair. Just see what's going to give that couple of percent for us. I mean, you seen there as I came onto it, everything was coming in news-wise. So again, we're looking for it is considered an important indicator of inflation as monetary expansion adds pressure to the exchange rates. Again, if we could go back onto this, it's starting to come down now. I don't want to close the trade out because I want to factor this on a 1 to 2 return, to be fair. We'll go back on that economic news a minute. Consumer credit. High figure may also indicate the economy's overheating, borrowing, or beyond their means. high reading is seen as a positive. All right, so we're just below a positive reading, to be fair. So again, I don't think it's going to have a massive amount of volatility or effect in the market, to be honest. But as a whole, we just go back on this 2-minute fair value gap. You can see on here, okay, we've had a break here and we've left behind a 2-minute fair value gap on here. We may get a touch into that area. So it's basically a re-entry. So then it's took liquidity to create liquidity. Again, if we get a touch onto this, it would then search. It certainly went for a break of structure there. It may come down to touch into any one of these fair value gaps. We've got 3 of them, to be honest. And then the next search of liquidity, if it was going to continue up, will be this one up here. Again, we're just hovering around the negative to just in a positive sort of area. I'd be a bit more confident in this trade. Let's see if we actually started to a continuation to the upside and come above that area there. Whoop, let's just get that back. I'd be a lot more confident if we come to take that high out, in all honesty. We've taken that 2-minute fair value gap that was just around about on the bottom. I'm just going to leave this here. We'll see what happens. I'm going to pause the video, guys. We'll be back in a short while. Like I say, I'm trying not to sort of make these that long today, but I want to show you as much stuff as I can with the price action to try and give you guys a little bit of an understanding. As long as we stay in a few hundred quid here, I'm happy with this. Again, moving forward on things, if I was to start trading this properly and we started to get a 1% return, I would possibly take a partial off the table. So again, as this went towards a 1-to-1, it would possibly give $1,000. And then from there, taking a partial off, if it was to return and knock us out, then obviously we've stemmed the loss, the flow of the loss, you know. We're going to Euro USD. There's nothing really happening on that. It's just coming back between the medium line of this, in all honesty. The GBP, GPY is just massively it's got in a huge range. So at the moment, the only trade that is sort of worth it at the moment is this one we have set up, which is in profit at the moment, around about 500 to 600. We'll hold this trade. We'll see if it'll go on to sort of give us that return there. So I'll be back in a short while. Let's just check up on this trade, guys. GBP USD. It went on to give the 2%. A little bit knackered because I've just ran upstairs because I heard the alarm go. I thought I might have been missing on something. But we've gotten a 2% gain. We can mark that up on the chart, which we will do at the end of this session. At the moment, we're around about 10 o'clock. So there's around about an hour left of what I would class as my trading time due to the kill zone box. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video. I'll update the sheet and we'll be back if we get another entry. Again, there's only been one entry given us. That's, like I say, the entry today. But we've grown the account by 2% because we risked 1%. Okay, so I'll update the chart. I'll keep an eye on what's happening with price movement on the GBP, JPY, which again has just been stuck in a range. We haven't broke the today's high or low yet. And the same with the Euro USD. We haven't really broke the today's high or low at the moment, although this morning we did do it here. Okay, when we look at it here, the may have been an entry around about here to be able to get into. And again, you can see based upon a 2-minute fair value gap, which is there, that has actually came up and it's respected into that, and now it's moving back down. But again, we don't just do it based upon what you're seeing on the chart there. You've got to do from a top down to a bottom, you know. So again, at the moment, the way price structure is, we've got the high, and the today's low. So we need one of these two broke. We'll get rid of that 2-minute fair value gap. Looking back on it, we're halfway on that one, and it's the same on the GBP, GPY. But we've gotten our first winning trade of this forward test today, which has given us back a 2% return. Okay, guys, I'll pause the video. We'll be back in a short while. Right, guys, so again, we've risked 1% today. We've now up by £2,096. We go on to the trade. You can see here it was a 1 to 2. It was successful. We put it in the trading journal. Okay, we were entered at 9:15 for a buy position. The lot sizes for the risk 1% on that, for that stop loss that was there, was 12.50 on a 1 to 100 leverage, GBP USD ICT method. From there, 1 minute time frame. The entry, again, the entry is based upon the last 4 digits of this here. So it's 2315. You can see on here, 2315 on that entry there. Okay, and then from there, the stop loss 2307. You can see here 2307. It's the 4 digits after the decimal, and then from there, take profit 2332. You can see on here 23318. So it went to the nearest ones. It's 22312. And then it's given us what the value is, 8 pips, 10 per pip value, the rate, the required margin. This is the risk management side. So it was just under a 1% risk, but with the commissions and all that, the risk and reward was around about 1 to 2 here. We got that win. Again, it's giving you the close position and the time. It says 0947. I'll put this back onto the London time. You can see here 0947 on that candle. Okay, just to be transparent. And then we were in the trade for around about half an hour. The R multiple is 2.1 pips, 17 pips. The profit is 2,096. The accumulative profit, because it's the first win, is 2,096. And we've got the first win on the board. What does that mean on the dashboard? It just means we've got the one trade. Again, all this becomes transparent, as you know, with regards to graphs and everything as we move along. Okay, you can see in here, we have now got the account in 2,096 and profit and loss. Again, we start with 100k paper trading account. Account balance is 102,096. It's confluent with this. On top of that, again, goes without saying, 100% strike rate, because we got the first win of the day. The gain for today is 2.10%. Now, when we look at this, structure-wise, we can now take that bit off, okay? We can now get rid of that, and we can possibly get rid of that. We would structurally be waiting for... We'd be structurally waiting for the high or the low to be taken again before we look at a re-entry. From there, we look on the GBP, GPY. There's been very little movement in the kill zone, to be fair, if anything. I mean, once the kill zone started, the movement for a GBP pair has been very minimal, around about 15, 16 pips. Again, we didn't break this structure here, so I wasn't confident me moving up. We've left behind a 2-minute fair value gap here, okay? And there's an entry there. However, this has not broke this here, so it's not within the placement of the rules, so we haven't taken a trade. The other one is the Euro USD. Again, from the high to the low, we got a low here. We did break structure. We came back. If we look into the structure of this particular price in this leg, 2-minute fair value gap, it's arguable that obviously from there to there is one, and then you had a break of this here. There was an entry here, to be fair, but again, I was looking for this high to be taken here, this lower high, if that makes sense. I want some that was given a bit more of a displacement area. As we broke this here, Again, we can see we broke this high, come up. We didn't come to retest into this area, but again, it's moved away too much from this low area. So again, I need to be strict, need to be tight with what we got. And with that being said, again, this is working in our favor doing it this way simply because, again, we've got a 2% gain on the account. I'm happy with that. What I'll do is I'll pause the video. In fact, what I'll do is I'll stop the video there for today, okay? Because I'm happy with that 2% growth. I'll come back during the New York session and set up and do a different video, and then just jump it on this if possible. If anything shows its hand and I'm happy with it, then fair enough. However, when we are looking at today's news, there's a lot of news on the USD, to be fair. But that being said, we had some this morning on the GBP as well. So again, overall, we'll end the video there for the London session of the 31st of January, Monday morning, or Tuesday morning, sorry. It is Tuesday. So again, just to reiterate back on that, we got our first trade on the box. Last week when we were forward testing, we were only risking 0.10%. Today, we're pushing the boat out and we're risking 1% a trade now. So we've gained a 2% gain, a £2 profit, or just over £2 profit. Happy with that. Happy days. We'll see you all on the next video, guys.